In rethinking my educational autobiography, I noticed some things have changed and some things have stayed the same. I am still the same person who is not interested in history and am more interested in hands-on learning. As a teacher, I tend to enjoy the days of laboratory activities or projects more than traditional lecture days. I tend to get all excited about examining things under a microscope, performing random chemical tests, or just being able to provide my students with the hands-on learning component of science. The artifact I identified with in my original paper, the microscope, still resonates with my identity today. The only difference is that I am using the artifact to teach and not looking through the lens to learn. I now use the microscope to get students excited about cells and all their different parts. I still identify with the same SMART group. I tend to fit in homework for graduate school whenever possible, including bringing reading materials to parent-teacher conferences when I know I will have some downtime. This happens during the afternoon conferences, and I do not want to waste any time. I never was the athlete in high school and still semi-fall along those lines. Although I ventured into softball as an adult, I do not play competitively and enjoy the camaraderie more than the actual game. I still do not fit in with the social crowd. Although I have multiple friends, there are only a few I would consider my close friends. These are the ones who I spend the most time with and whom I choose to keep closest to my heart. Therefore, I would not consider myself the most popular person. I would say the greatest change has come through my students. I was placed into an inner-city school for student teaching and had to change my thinking about students and learning real quickly. My students were the remedial students who had taken the class 3, 4, 5, or more times. They were not at all concerned about school, did not have very many hobbies outside the classroom other than hanging with friends, and were not interested in hearing this Caucasian girl talk about cells. I had to figure out how to identify with my students and spent a good portion of the 4 months struggling with this. Ironically, it seems as if the adults where I work seem to form groups as much as the students. You can see what the groups are by looking at the people who sit together during the staff meetings. Typically, teachers sit with other members of their department with a few variations. The science, math, foreign language, English, special education, and history teachers all tend to flock to their set department tables. Sprinkled around the sides in the computer chairs are the elective teachers. On the back couches, the physical education teachers lounge. A few business teachers scatter between groups. Unfortunately, the school is set up to encourage these types of grouping. For example, all the science classrooms are clustered together in one bunch and connected to each other and the science office. One never has to leave the safety of their classroom to find necessary items or people to talk to. If there was a copier in each office, no common ground for lunch, nor activities planned for the whole staff to enjoy, one would never see people outside of their own department. I tend to see the students who are my hard workers or brightest. These are the students who come in every day with a book, who get right to work on the homework and always ask questions. Unfortunately, this leaves out the majority of 2 of my classes. This year and last year, I was selected to teach the 2 sections of general biology. These are the students who are at risk of dropping out of school. Many are disorganized, have no desire to be in school, do not come prepared to class, and live a hard home life. I struggle day in and day out to connect with these students. I did not have the same home life as many of them, and have found most of these students are not interested in any activities outside of school like clubs or sports. I have found, as have other teachers, finding one thing to discuss with the students and connect with is a key to getting them to succeed. Some days, I feel like I am getting ahead in the battle and able to reach every student within the general classroom. This can happen on any given day for no apparent reason. For example, I get this feeling when all students are facing forward, paying attention to the notes or the instructions for the day. But typically, I feel as though I am constantly in an uphill battle. I don't feel as if I am able to reach every kid when the classes become too full or students quit their work when I am not directly standing over them. I tend to spend most of my class running around between groups or individual students trying to get them to answer one more question or complete one more task. I am not sure how to reach the few who have not developed the connection with me or the motivation to complete any work after half a year together. The first thing I do in my classroom to ensure respect and equality is establish a set of rules and procedures at the beginning of each semester. Students go over this with me and it is posted in my classroom. While the document lays out things such as where to go for absent work, how to turn things in, and bell work, it also deals with the idea of respect. Each teacher in my school is required to have the PRIDE, P-R-I-D-E, acronym in their syllabus. PRIDE stands for perseverance, respect, integrity, dedication, and excellence. While this simple exercise seems small, the impact around the school is huge. The staff at my school spend time going into detail how the idea looks in each classroom and how it should be displayed throughout the hallways, common areas, and other places. By the time the first week of each semester ends, each student is supposed to know the acronym and be able to describe how it applies in each of their teacher's classrooms. If something were to happen in my classroom, I would hold a class discussion on it. It might deal with how to work with a certain type of student in terms of respect, or how one conducts his or herself in my classroom. If the situation was extreme and needed to be addressed in multiple areas, I would bring in outside help. Fellow teachers, the dean of students, and administrators are always willing to come into your classroom and help you in any way they can. Thank you for listening.